Russell Wilson has been benched in favor of Jarrett Stidham. This has to be the most cutthroat benching that I've ever witnessed in all my years watching the NFL. I've never seen a quarterback throw 26 touchdowns and only 8 interceptions and lose his starting job where his team is still in position to make it into the playoffs. But this Russell Wilson saga with the Denver Broncos has got really messy. So apparently, a couple of weeks ago, after Denver played Kansas City, the Broncos organization came up to Russell Wilson and it was like, hey, bro, we need you to take a pay cut for us. So we need you to redo your contract. And Russell Wilson, I guess he was like, hell no, I ain't redoing nothing. Y'all figure it out. And apparently this caused some heated debates between the two parties. Of course, Russell Wilson, why the hell would he readjust his contract? He wasn't the one who offered him that deal. The Broncos were. So therefore, they got to pay for it. Yeah, if you're a Broncos fan, you're going to say Russell Wilson should want to take a pay cut and want to adjust his contract with how bad he's been, not being able to live up to expectations. But at the same time, this is Denver's problem, not Russell Wilson. If you were Russell Wilson, would you be giving up free cash? Because I damn sure wouldn't. I don't care how bad I play. Go ahead and bench me. You still got to back up those Brinks trucks to my front door every single payday. So it doesn't matter to me. Bench me all you want to. So they're going to bench Russell Wilson for Jarrett Stidham the final 2 games of the season, despite the fact that they still have a chance of making it to the playoffs. But the reason for this is even more cutthroat. Yes, we know Russell Wilson hasn't played great, but he hasn't played bad enough to get benched. They want to put this fool on the sideline so they don't risk him getting injured. Because if he gets injured, then they got to pay this dude $35 million fully guaranteed next year if he was to suffer an injury. And the Denver Broncos, they plan on kicking Russell Wilson to the curb once the season is over. The question is, when are they going to release Russell Wilson? Are they going to do it before March 17th? Because if they do, then they are going to have to go ahead and take a major dead cap hit. His dead cap hit is around $85 million? But if they cut him post June 1st, then they're going to take a cap hit of $35.4 million for 2024. And then next year they take a dead cap hit of $49.6 million. Still major implications for getting rid of Russell Wilson. This has been a horrendous trade. When they traded for Russell Wilson back in 2022, Broncos Nation was thinking that they were finna ride on into the Super Bowl conversation, and it's been the polar opposite. And then you bring in Sean Payton. This dude was supposed to come in and fix Russell Wilson, and he's done a pretty good job of that. To the most part, Russell Wilson looks way better this season than what he looked last season. Like in 2022, I couldn't even call him Russell Wilson anymore. I just called him Russell. But this season, he's been serviceable. But the problem with Russell Wilson is just that he isn't a good fit for Sean Payton's offense. He's washed up. He's cooked. He's not what he used to be. And you look at the stats, and the stats show that Russell Wilson has been a pretty decent quarterback. But if you watch these games, Russell Wilson at times looks terrible. Against the New England Patriots, he was awful. And the Broncos run a red zone offense. Like their whole entire offense, no matter where they get the ball at, seems to have red zone play calling. Their 3 favorite plays are running the football up the gut, either throwing the jump ball to Cortland Sutton or Denzel Mims, or not Denzel Mims, but that other rookie that they got out of Oklahoma named Mims. And then, maybe doing a quarterback rollout, maybe a read option with Russell Wilson here or there. But this offense has no variety to it. It has no flavor. And there are people calling Sean Payton overrated when this dude has took one of the biggest laughingstocks in the NFL and made them a respectable team. Russell Wilson just isn't good enough for Sean Payton. And there are people saying that Sean Payton wanted Russell Wilson. Sean Payton didn't want no Russell Wilson. Sean Payton took this job because the owner of the Denver Broncos has so much damn money from owning Walmart that they said, fuck it, we need one of the greatest coaches in the history of the game to fix an all-time big mistake. This dude, Russell Wilson, was cooked last year, man. Did y'all forget how bad this team was? Because I didn't. I remember when they got blown out on Christmas by Baker Mayfield and the LA Rams. So you go from being an embarrassment to being a respectable team in one season under Sean Payton. It's just that Russell Wilson was never going to revert back to the level of play that we saw out of him in Seattle. That just was the truth of the situation, and Sean Payton knew this. And I also believe that Sean Payton took this job knowing that regardless of if Russell Wilson was going to be able to revert somewhat back to the Seattle level that he used to be at or not, he was still going to move on from Russell Wilson. Because here's the thing with Sean Payton, he didn't make this trade. He didn't want Russell Wilson. He inherited Russell Wilson because he's getting paid $20-something million to coach this damn team. This job was so undesirable that they pretty much had to beg Sean Payton to take it. That's why he's getting paid so much money. You think he would have had to get, kind of a little bit leveraged and kind of be a little bit incentivized to take the LA Chargers job if that was available last offseason? Hell no. He had to be incentivized to coach the Denver Broncos because nobody else wanted to coach Russell Wilson. Hell, Trevor Evero, when Nathaniel Hackett got fired last year, he was offered the interim coaching job and he didn't want it. Dan Quinn turned down the Broncos coaching job. Jim Harbaugh wouldn't even give these guys a listen. They were desperate, so they had to go out and get Sean Payton because this was the only way they could make this, a favorable solution to trying to fix Russell Wilson. It's just that Sean Payton just has had it up to here with Russell Wilson. If you go back and you watch that Detroit Lions game where the Lions beat the hell out of the Broncos, there was a play down the red zone when one of the Broncos offensive linemen got called for offsides, like Kadarius Toney did the week prior. Crazy, ironic, right? And then once Russell Wilson goes to the sideline, Sean Payton is giving it to this dude like, I'm not good at reading lips, but I do know that there was a lot of profanity coming out of Sean Payton's mouth when he was scolding Russell Wilson, and it didn't look pretty. And Russell Wilson, he didn't look too happy about it. It looked like he kind of got a little bit down and out on himself. And Russell Wilson is a really good person. And if we're looking at this from a human standpoint in a non-business situation, this is fucked up. Okay, this is fucked up. There's been a lot of crazy and things that have been a little bit non-morally correct that I've seen in the NFL, such as Pittsburgh forcing Troy Polamalu to retire. But this is really wrong. Okay, now I'm not knocking the business aspect of it. Don't come in the comment section trying to lecture me about the business side of football because trust me, I understand. I get it. But this dude, Russell Wilson, hasn't been bad enough to where his play warrants him getting benched for Jarrett Stidham. I would still take Russell Wilson over a handful of quarterbacks, although that handful is really small. But I'll take him over Taylor Heineke and Desmond Ridder. I'll definitely take him over Kenny Pickett. Give me Russ any day of the week over Kenny Pickett. But Russell Wilson just wasn't going to cut it as Sean Payton's quarterback for the next couple of years. This offense is so limited because Sean Payton has had to build a scheme around a limited quarterback. Russell Wilson can't move how he used to move. He doesn't have a lot of arm strength like he used to possess anymore. He used to be Houdini. He's not Houdini anymore. He used to be able to wiggle himself out of sacks, find a way to turn nothing into something. He can't do that anymore, man. We were talking about how let Russ cook, but Russ has been cooked since he first got traded to Denver. And this has to be one of the most one-sided trades in NFL history. You look at Seattle, they flipped Russell Wilson and turned him into Devon Witherspoon and a lot of other promising young players. Meanwhile, Denver, you're seeing here in panic mode right now because you're about to take a huge dead cap hit to get rid of this dude. Like, it's crazy how Russell Wilson has 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions on the season, and he's going to be next week in their game against the Chargers holding the damn clipboard with the Gatorade cup on the sideline. Hey, if they have Russell Wilson calling in the plays, you know how the backup quarterbacks be having on the orange or green vest and they be showing the hand signals for what the play call is? If they got Russell Wilson calling in the plays next week, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it because it just doesn't get no disrespectful than that. Russell Wilson, when he gets cut, because it has been announced that the Broncos are going to part ways with him. They're just done with Russell Wilson at this point. They don't care about the implications. And if they're going to go that route, what's next for Russell Wilson? People talking about what's Russell Wilson's market going to be? You really think somebody's going to want Russell Wilson? Somebody may want to bring him in to be like a bridge stopgap quarterback and give him a cheap 1 year, $6-7 million deal, but that's about it. Who will want Russell Wilson? This dude is not what he used to be anymore. He's cooked. If I'm a team and I'm looking at my options at quarterback, Russell Wilson isn't even on my damn list. It's time for Russell Wilson to retire. All right? Become a family man. He just had another child a couple of weeks ago. Congratulations to him on that. You got a beautiful wife at home in Sierra. You got a beautiful family. Like, just hang up the cleats and give yourself the opportunity of being able to go out with your head somewhat held up high. Because nobody's going to remember at Russell Wilson's Hall of Fame induction about him getting benched by Denver a decade down the road. Because he shouldn't really be benched anyway. He's getting benched because of politics and financial reasons. There's no way that Russell Wilson's play, although it hasn't been great, warrants him having to hold a clipboard and a Gatorade cup on the sideline for the entirety of a game. And hell, like if Russell Wilson was willing to take a veteran minimum, he would be a pretty good backup or, like I said earlier, a stopgap quarterback until you can find your successor of the future. Denver, though, they just had enough of it. Their owners got like billions and billions in the bank. They own Walmart, so they just got money to blow. So this ain't nothing to them. Them having to pay that $85 million and dead cap, that's like chunk change to them. Sean Payton, this was somebody who had Jameis Winston playing some damn good football, leading the NFL in touchdown to interception ratio, on top of the NFC South Division at 5-1 his final season in NOLA until he got injured by Devin White when they played the Bucs. I seem to forget about that. Russell Wilson was made a serviceable quarterback by Sean Payton. We seem to forget just how bad Russ truly was in 2022 under Nathaniel Hackett. And Nathaniel Hackett couldn't hack the code with Russell Wilson, and neither could Sean Payton. The last 2 games of the season, you still have a shot at winning this division and making it to the playoffs, and you're going to say, you know what? We'd rather go with Jarrett Stidham. You see, I saw the writing on the wall once Sean Payton was chewing Russell Wilson out on the sideline. I saw what it was. Like I said, I can't read lips or nothing like that, but it was a lot of derogative language coming out of Sean Payton's mouth, and he was really irritated with Russell Wilson. He never wanted this dude. He inherited Russell Wilson, tried to make something out of nothing, which he did a pretty good job at doing, while he collects a big check. Now that the season's about to be over, you got a pretty high draft pick. You're going to be picking somewhere around 13 to 20. Maybe you'll be in position where you can maybe get a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix, or maybe you can trade up and get somebody. But Russell Wilson, I believe his NFL career is done unless he's willing to be a backup. I don't see what team would want to sign Russell Wilson when Sean Payton was running a red zone offense with this dude. Like their offense, they called plays like they were in the red zone. No matter where they were on any end of the field, they were starting their offensive drives at. So this is a really messy and a really ugly situation. Like, of course, Russell Wilson wasn't finna redo his contract. If you're a Broncos fan, would you redo your contract? I wouldn't. Shit, y'all the one who paid me. I ain't paid myself. So Russell Wilson, he's done in Denver. This has been a massive disaster. If you're the Seattle Seahawks and Pete Carroll and their general manager, like, you got to be laughing so hard at this. I mean, you just traded for this dude nearly 2 offseasons ago. This dude was supposed to bring you back to relevancy. And all he's done is make you an even more bigger embarrassment than what you've been in the past because of everything that you gave up to get this dude. Sean Payton, he's done with it. He's done with it. You can blame Sean Payton all you want to, but he can't be too much of the problem if he has Russell Wilson throwing 26 touchdowns and only 8 interceptions compared to what the hell this dude did last year.